Today, I'm joined with my beautiful guest, friend, former student, Nicole Quigley. Nicole, what is going on? Happy to see you.
Happy to see you too. It's good to be here.
Good, good, good. Nicole, so for anyone that doesn't know you, give us a quick rundown on where you grew up. Your a little bit about your schooling, a little bit of background there, and then your early career, professional career, and then what led you towards fitness.
Right. I'll keep it brief, bullet points. So I grew up in Irvinstown in County Fermanagh. And went to basically secondary school, grammar school, all the rest, and then just kind of followed that trajectory of you go to uni. So I was really good at languages, so I did an undergrad in French and Spanish at Queen's. And then
Nice. You still speak Spanish?
See, not very well. I do need to practice, but I can hold a conversation, put it that way.
Nice.
And then I did my master's in communication, advertising, and PR with a diploma in global marketing alongside it. I think, because why would you only do one thing at once? You know what I mean?
Of course. Sounds familiar.
And then came out of that and went into work in a newspaper in the digital marketing department, and then kind of worked in various different companies, working my way up the ladder. And then I kind of got to head of department, and I was like, I've climbed this ladder and it's against the wrong fucking tree. I was like, why? And it was so miserable. I hated it. And I was working I started a blog in 2017 called Diet Starts Monday, and that led to an awful lot of opportunities and different things like that. And I was working with an online coach at the time, sort of like a brand ambassador, and I was loving it. And then he hired me as his full-time member staff. And then I was like, right, yeah, I want to do this myself.
Nice. Let's backtrack slightly there, Nicole, before you go any further. So I suppose anyone that does know you will probably know you, I would guess, from Instagram, which the brand Diet Starts Monday kind of gained a lot of traction. What was the premise behind starting it originally?
Well, I always loved writing, and I wanted to be a features editor for Vogue, Glamour, Vanity Fair, Elle magazine, all them ones. I was obsessed with magazines, and The Devil Wears Prada. I used to buy magazines and highlight bits and stuff. Right. All the time. And back then you couldn't really get the experience unless you moved in London or moved to London. I couldn't afford to live in London, so I was like, right. I was inspired by other bloggers and YouTubers in the Fro and different ones like that were big at the time, and I was like, right, I'm going to start my own sort of blog, and then I can walk into an interview in those publications and be like, well, I've grown a brand, so people know me already, so I don't need it. I've already been getting experience, so it was crowbar and experience out of what I could get, basically.
And how come it was Diet Starts Monday?
Well, it was originally called the Liberty Bell because it was meant to focus on all things like freedom and beautiful and stuff and all that nice stuff. And then I was sitting in work one day, and I had a life coach at the time when a very good friend had just qualified with Tony Robbins to be a life coach. Nice. So she was working with me, not as a guinea pig, but she was kind of getting her wheels in motion. And I was sitting and I was like, Laura, I think I want to call my blog Diet Starts Monday. And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah, it just feels right. It was just came to me. I was sitting in work in a job that I hated in Derry, and I was just like, yeah, I think I'm gonna start it. And then I did it, and she was like, are you gonna pigeonhole yourself? I was like, no, I don't think so, because as my confidence grows from losing weight and stuff, because that was what it was documenting a weight loss journey. And then I was like, everything else will feed into it, confidence will grow and stuff like that, so all the fashion shit will come in. So started that, and then it kind of exploded. I was in YouTube did really well. I started on YouTube mostly, and Instagram was just supporting it. It was before video. Instagram supported video. Do you know what I mean?
Got it.
So YouTube did really well, and then I was in a couple of different papers in a very short space of time, and then my work that I was in, they picked up on it, and it was a digital company, so you'd think they'd be like, oh my god, yeah, Clash, she works for us, let's push her out. But they were like, take that all down. It's a distraction to yourself and everybody else in the office. That's all people are talking about. Get rid of it. And I was just like, no.
Interesting. Okay.
So they put me on a performance improvement program to try and manage me out. And a board member stepped in and was like, there's nothing wrong with her work. Fuck up. And then and don't get me wrong, my work could have been better. I wasn't happy, so it was going to come through my work. but it definitely wasn't bad enough to be treated the way I was. So that kind of happened, and then I just kind of bounced around several different jobs, working in various different marketing stuff, and I've just always kept that as a side hustle sort of thing. Side hustle is the word. I didn't really make much money from it, but I enjoyed it most of the time.
Nice.
And then that led to sort of being a brand ambassador for this PT, and then getting hired as his full-time member of staff. And then I was like, yeah, I want to do this. I would need to do this myself, and I always thought that. And then we parted ways last year on New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had spoken to you 3 days before it or something. I don't know if I spoke to you on New Year's Eve, but New Year's Eve was the day I pulled the trigger, and I know that much. And I just basically begged my dad for financial help. I was like, please, please, I am begging you. Can you please help me with this? I'm so sick of marketing. I hate it. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. It's killing my soul. Like, please. And Daddy was just like, how do I know this is going to work? And I was like, I will not. It's not an option for it not to. So I think it's all fun. So he helped. He did. Was very, very good. I'm very fortunate. I'm really close to my parents. I'm an only child. I'm really close that fortunate that my parents were in the position where they could help me out. Now he's made it very clear it's a loan, and as soon as my own debt is paid off, there's better own conversations about. And
just for, and I suppose just for anyone that is listening in who maybe aren't sure what it was for, it was basically to begin your fitness education coming to ECA. What was your experience like coming into the course, and what was your first perception of the course, and what was your thoughts on the first day?
Oh, obviously I was late.
Which you got in trouble for as well. So for anyone watching this or who hasn't done the course yet, you will get in trouble for it.
You will get in trouble for being late. But I was never late again, apart from one other time when I got a flat tire and I changed it myself on the side of the M1, so that was fine. But yeah, I walked in, Lanny had already started. I was kind of just slunk into the back, and that was fine. And I was like, I wasn't nervous. I was just kind of like, okay, let's do this. It felt like, sounds so bloody stupid to be like, oh, it felt like I went home, but like it did just felt like I walked in and I was like, I wasn't scared. I'm not one of those people who gets sort of scared walking into new places. I kind of make friends with the wall, so I was happy enough. And you'd already started, and we were talking about, it was Mo actually that said that she was like, she wanted to be a coach for a similar reason I wanted to be a coach, because she wanted to show that like bigger girls could go to the gym and make progress and didn't need to feel intimidated. So latched onto her straight away, and we were besties. And then you were talking about everything and like all of our agreements about looking after your sleep and your nutrition and all that kind of stuff. And part of my head went, I'm not doing that. And then I kind of was like, I think I was a wee bit not cocky, but I kind of thought that I would just be going in and getting a piece of paper and like leave it, you know what I mean? Because I had like a decent knowledge anyway. And then that saying, you said the more you know there is to know, and the less you know, the more you think you know. And that smacked me over the head like a ton of bricks, and I was like, I fucking know nothing, boys. And that was fine. And like I just remember like us talking about everything, and you going over everything with the course, and like the goodie bag and the impression and the welcome we got, and I was just like, Jesus, these boys know their shit. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we were actually discussing this yesterday. So we had a team meeting just the other day, and we were laughing because I was like, on the exterior, people probably think that we know our shit, but we've left this team meeting more confused than when we went in. But yeah, this is progress for you.
But you're building the plane as you're flying it, like that's winging it.
Yeah. I think
everyone's doing
I think
that.
everyone is. Yeah, I think everyone is.
But the actual, how the course is run, how people are treated, the unconditional love and acceptance for everybody, like nobody needs to feel like a spare part or like you're not welcome. Everyone is welcome, whether you've been or you've been training for years, you're welcome. There's so much patience, even since the course. Like I have Andrew Lawler's head demented. I have your head turned, like I'm like asking questions constantly, the support you get. And then as well as a result, like my DMs, I would say I get at least 5 or 6 DMs a week of being like, you did the ECA course, what's it like? And I'm just like, oh my God, don't think about it. Big, borrow, steal, take out a loan, remortgage your house, do what you need to do.
It's nowhere near as bad as that. Like
it's nowhere near, I know. But with that, but with someone in my position who was already in massive amounts of debt, I was like, right, yeah. So, and then
you're on the course, you met a lot of good people, a lot of good friends. You didn't immediately move into fitness straight after the course. So you actually went back to the marketing job, which, by the way, ironically, you're kind of still in marketing, but just not in the sense that you're working for a corporate company.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, so you didn't move straight into fitness. Like, what was going on in your mind there?
Well, I didn't go back to the job. I had it the whole time I was doing the course. So basically, I lived in Belfast. My office was based in Dundalk. I was driving to Dundalk from Belfast 2 to 3 times a week, coming in, getting stuck into the course on a Tuesday night, going to class 10 to 5 on a Sunday, and then getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and training in the gym in Newry on the way down, and then going to Dundalk. So my schedule was rammed, like, and I just had to do it. Like, do you know what I mean? It just had to be like, and coffee, like caffeine, I was 90% caffeine, which is one of the reasons I'm caffeine free. But yeah, so basically I finished my course, had a brilliant time, and I graduated, loved my life. And then I was still in the marketing job because I couldn't afford to leave. Basically, I had rent to pay, I had bills to pay, like I had credit card bills to cover, I had all this stuff that I needed to keep ticking over. And then yeah, that was brilliant. And then I was kind of, after the course finished, I got really, really depressed. And I was really down and I was like, why am I feeling so down? I've just qualified, I should be like over the moon. But it was because I wasn't working towards anything that meant a lot to me. Like, I worked in a software company, and I don't know one person in this earth who really gives a shit about software, to be honest, like passionately. Do you know what I mean? I know there are people who love computers and stuff, but I just don't.
You just don't know them.
No, I
you
can't
just don't know them.
like, oh my God, like this is the best thing ever. Do you know what I mean? I can't imagine that. So I was bored and I was going in, and it was just like, it was coming across even in my work in that company. God love them. Like, my manager was amazing. And essentially I remember lying on the sofa because I felt burnt out. So I was like, right, I'm taking a weekend, I'm just chilling. And I remember lying on the sofa on the Saturday or the Sunday, Sunday. And I was just like, if I am meant to coach, said this out loud. And I was like, if I am meant to coach, remove any blocks in my way. And the next day I got sacked.
That's a transition from me saying, hey, this girl quit her job. No, she actually got sacked. And
I got sacked. I engineered the situation to ensure I got sacked.
Yeah, because I remember it was going to go either way, because I actually chatted to you before, and you were like, when you rang me and you were like, just saved myself a lot of trouble. I was going to walk out, but instead my boss just let me go. So
yeah, but it was great. She was amazing. She was just like, you're not happy, it's coming across in your work. She was leaving herself because she wasn't happy, and she was just like, she was like, I've had it, like, you've got a lot of potential, it's being wasted here, you're bored. And I was just like, okay, fair enough, yeah. And then I'm very, very grateful to her, because she was like, basically, if you don't walk, I'm going to sack you, which one do you want? And I was like,
nice.
Okay. And then she was like, have a think about it, take the rest of the day, come in tomorrow, we'll talk in person. And we had a great chat, and she was just like, listen, you're just not happy, it's coming across in your work, the standard isn't high enough, go and be a coach. And I was just like, yeah, thanks, okay. And then that was great. And then
that was scary for you?
Yeah, it was terrifying. But all these, I was like, shit, what am I going to do? Because all these things sort of then snowball to sort of pave the pathway for me and do it in the less stressful way possible. So basically, it's not, I don't want to say obviously it's a blessing, but it was a blessing in disguise. But my mum got diagnosed with cancer again. She's going to be fine, treatment's working, everything's great, we're a great prognosis, but that obviously made me want to come home more. And then I was like, basically we were in a situation, my flatmate wanted to get out of the flat we were in, I wanted to stay. I asked if we could keep it on our own. We got turned down for every house we applied for together to move to Belfast. And then basically I was like, can I keep this flat myself? The landlord was just like, no. And I was like, what am I going to do? And then I was like, hang on, I'll just come home. And then I don't have to worry, I can focus on the business. So for some reason, this didn't occur to me. I was like, shit. And I was like, I'm staying in Belfast. And I was like, no, I don't. So I just decided to pack the bags. Jason and Kira, fair play to them, came up in a transit van and just took all my shit home, like my TV, everything. And that was absolutely brilliant. And I just kind of moved back in with my mom and dad, and I've just got my room sorted this weekend. And then that was
nice. So we'll fast forward a bit. You're up to, 30 plus clients online now, which has been a bit of a kind of whirlwind situation for you, which kind of escalated pretty quickly. as I kind of guessed that it would, because, you know, going back to what we chatted about earlier, your Dad Starts Monday brand, it wasn't wasted work, because
no, not at all.
Fast forward then a couple of years from starting that, it has probably been the catalyst for the growth that you've seen in your online business.
Yeah.
Since kind of focusing on it more, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, Diet Starts Monday and blogging taught me way more than any of my degrees or qualifications. Like, when I say I have qualifications coming out of my ass, I mean, I'm SIM certified, like everything, spent loads of money on marketing courses, and I've learned more just by doing than more through ECA and through coaching than I have in any of those put together.
Where does because you're a creative person, obviously, with even the name Dad Starts Monday, it's pretty catchy. Everything that you do in terms of your onboarding is creative with your clients. I think you've always generally been that way. I'd say even the way you dress is creative. Maybe not today. You're just rocking the black look, but
that's my friends.
General,
my friends' brands.
Oh, okay. In general, you're a colorful, creative person. Where does that come from?
I don't know. It must be one of the options that add on. One of my parents were building me in the factory. No, I don't know. Yeah. My dad's an art teacher.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
He breaks cars in his spare time. So he was an art teacher and a geography teacher, and then so he's always been painting. I've always kind of grown up around art. Loved it. I was always like a creative, very good at English. Was always a really big into writing, and then studied a lot of art and literature at university. Those were the modules I loved, and then became obsessed with surrealism, like Salvador Dali stuff. And if anyone has seen any of his paintings, they're fucking batshit crazy. Like, there's clocks melting and all these like mad crazy stuff. So I've always kind of been surrounded by it. Like, loads of my family are in music, loads of my family are art teachers, like on mum's side as well. Everybody's music, like so many of my cousins and uncles and aunties are in bands. So I guess I'm always
bit of nature, bit of nurture.
Yeah, bit of nature, bit of nurture. Like, it's so funny. My mom always is like, "You're so musical," and I don't think I am, because I'm really impatient. So if I can't sit down and play Mozart's 7th Symphony in B minor by the time better than half an hour, I sit at the piano like but I can pick music up really well by ear and stuff, and just kind of lift the fiddle and play it, which is great. So it's kind of a bit of nature, a bit of nurture, as you said. It was kind of bred into me, and then I was always sort of surrounded by it, and then just my interests were always quite creative. But what I will say, and I only noticed this recently, was that, like, since I got a more smartphone, I lost so much of my personality. Like, all those things I stopped nurturing. Do you know what I mean? And it's only recently that I started doing it, because, like, don't get me wrong, like, TikTok has some great hacks. Like, it's absolutely changed my life in so many ways for so many things, like low calorie recipes and stuff. It's brilliant, and it can be a massive platform. Social media can be a massive platform to build a business on, but when you consume content instead of create content, it can be detrimental to your productivity. It can be detrimental to your creativity, and it can result in you comparing yourself to everybody, which I've been struggling with the last wee while, which is ridiculous considering how well things are going. But if you're watching you again,
well, let's talk about that a wee bit, Nicole, because again, you have built up quite a following on Instagram. You've got the marketing background as well, and I would say that you are knowledgeable on most platforms as well. So if there's someone, you know, watching this now who are maybe looking to build a bit of a following on whichever platform, I know the rules are different right across the board. Like, it's crazy. What would your advice, if someone was just starting out, let's say, all right, I want to be a personal trainer, I want to build, or maybe I want to be an online coach, and I want to start building, say, a massive audience, where would you direct them to?
Oh, okay. Video content for a start.
Yeah.
I've had people write to me being like, "Can you share my post?" And it's a written post with a photograph of them doing like a pull-up, and I'm like, "Doll, that's not gonna me sharing it. I'll share it, like, of course, but there's nothing. It's not gonna do anything. Do you know what I mean?"
Yeah.
So you need to video content, grab people's attention in the first millisecond, because people's attention span is shot to shit. Like, people will open TikTok while they're waiting for Safari to load, you know what I mean? So like, grab them. It's going to take you a while to figure out who your audience is and what they want. Like, my audience is all people who have tried everything. They're at their wits end. They're ex-Slimming Worlders. Some of them are in the gym, some of them aren't. Some of them don't like think it's so intimidating. It's this new world that they've never tapped into. So that's a lot of my audience. So I like push content that basically shows them that it's not as scary, and they don't have to exist on a stick of cucumber and a carrot stick and a bit of Diet Coke. They can actually have like a carbohydrate and it's fine. That is it. And then basically entertain, and also have a bit of crack with it. Share your struggles, humanize yourself. See if people think that you have to be perfect on social media because it's a highlight reel. If you are not sharing what you're struggling with, if you're not sharing your story, if you are not sharing the things that make you human and the things that share your personality, you were literally tripping yourself up in a way. You're stealing your success, and you're stealing your joy, you're stealing your authenticity, and you're putting yourself in a box that is going to lead to a really bad mindset and a really bad mental health. One thing that comes through in every single consultation call I do is, you're normal. Yes. I don't feel like you're going to shout at me if I slip up. They're wrong. I will. No, we're joking. But like, I don't feel like you're going to shout at me if I slip up. But I also think that you're going to turn around and be like, right, get your shit together. So that is the thing that shows it. And then it's like, I followed you for ages. I've seen you go up and down. I know that like, if you can do it, I can do it. I know that you're not there where you want to be. So I want to do that with you. Like, I know that you find it difficult too. So you understand, like, if you're not sharing the things that you have found in fitness, it's going to make your lead generation and your client nurture very difficult. Because again, the one thing that comes through in my clients now is that they've never had support like it.
Nice.
Which is class. That feedback is music to my ears. Like, I've got one client who's been on me with me for like 2 or 3 weeks, if that, and she's dropped something like 10 pounds. And I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. But she's just changed her life completely. She's so happy. And even just like when the weather's shit, she's turned like getting steps into her and her kids dancing around the living room. And that's their quality time. That's their memories that they'll love. And she's like, oh my God, no, it's all down to you. I'm like, it's like, fuck, it's down to you. All I'm doing is like helping and like, do you know what I mean? Making you believe you can do it. So when you get that sort of stuff through, so yeah, grab their attention, make your content engaging, focus on video content, add as much value as you can to your audience. Don't make it about you. I have a massive ego, so that's something I struggle with. Like, I'm an only child, so not making it about me is difficult. And because whenever you go from influencer to coach, it's a thing, because whenever you're an influencer, your blog is all about you.
Yep.
You're, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. And then sometimes I do find myself chatting on my stories, like, this is what I'm at, and I'm like, nobody gives a fuck what I'm at anymore. Right. So then I have to switch it around, and then it's kind of hard to go to that mindset.
That's a great observation there. I never actually really thought about that before, as in a term that would differentiate it. As in, like, influencer, it's about you. And even, I suppose, high level athletes as well. It's like, you won that competition, great, it's all about you. You're an influencer, great, it's all about you. But as a coach or a trainer, you then have to flip that switch. And that's hard, because I worked with some amazing brands. I really have, like, and I'm very lucky. And I know me and you have had our conversations about stuff, and you're like, get rid of that. And I'm like, no, I love that brand. That gives me confidence. You know what I mean? So it's things, there are certain things I've held on to, and there's certain things that I do really relish the opportunity of turning down right now. One of them being a lot of events. I really love not having to go to those anymore, which is great. And don't get me wrong, they're fantastic. Usually when you get there, it's just actually thought of pulling yourself off the sofa when you're already baked. But make your content about the audience and how you can help them, and how your coaching is the solution to their problems. You need to show them that you know the problem they have. So for instance, I can't lose weight, nothing works for me. And then you'd be like, right, nothing works for you, but how many diets have you tried in the last 6 months? And how often does it start on Monday? How often does it start on Monday? Are you starting every Monday? Like, how often are you emptying the cupboards on a Sunday, being like, right,
starting tomorrow, starting Monday, by Christmas, I'm going to be a Victoria's Secret supermodel. No, I'm not eating any chocolate. Would never put a crisp in my body again. And then this is things that I used to struggle with, and this is things I used to believe too. So share those things and share the mistakes you've made. Share all of it. Do you know what I mean? But don't make it about you, if that makes sense.
Total sense. You so from the summit, I remember you being just about the most excited person ever going to the ECA summit in June.
I'm the most excited person ever anywhere.
Yeah, yes, true. True. You just sprinkling glitter everywhere you go. I remember you being the most excited person about going to that. And you, from the summit, joined the ECA Mastermind. What's been the most substantial change from then until now?
Oh God. Hold on, this is going to take me a minute. I can never pick one thing, so it's going to be a couple. With Summit, we'll
give you two.
Oh God, that's very, very limiting to my beliefs. We're joking. Summit was honestly, I think, two of the best days of my life. I loved it. I was buzzing, and I went to Derby Kennedy the night before, and Summit was better. And that's my husband, so that means a lot. But yeah, the biggest thing I think is that coaches need coaches, and coaches collapse time for sure. And this is something that you always say, and as a guy, surely I can do it myself. You can't. Get help. And invest in it. Like, don't be scared to be like, that's so much money. What else are you gonna do? Drink it? You gonna buy more clothes you don't need? Do you know what I mean? Are you gonna go on another holiday to Ibiza? Like, what do you need? Like, no, build the life you want. Because last year, 2022, I don't know, something changed in me that New Year's Eve. I think I remember saying it to you on the phone, like, Lenny, like, and Andrew, you'll hear them talking about sales calls. That took no twisting at all. I was like, much the grand, let me speak to my dad, happy days. Yeah, grand, let's go. That was it. But I basically decided that 2022 was the year I was setting myself up for the life I wanted. And I went for a walk on the beach with my friend Phil, and I was like, I set all these goals, and I never thought I would actually do it. So what I would say is that I would take away from the summit is get support, because you will need it. Mostly to believe in yourself a lot of the time, because it can be really daunting when you're going into it. A lot. Fear is massive, and it was massive for me. It was, even at my first mastermind meeting, everyone had real problems about, like, you know, having time with their kids, or like lead generation, or how to manage a facility. I was like, I'm
scared. Yes, I recall that. Yeah, I recall that. It was fucking hilarious, actually. What was the fear that was holding you back?
Money. It was after the summit. After I joined Summit.
Once you had joined, because I remember the first conversation. And you were saying that you were, you know, holding back on doing certain things. What do you believe that was down to?
I was scared of money. I was scared not to have a safety net. And yeah, I was just terrified that I would fail. I was really, really scared. I was like, what if because I've one of those sort of fortunate people that I've always coasted by on the bare minimum. I've never had to try very hard. I'm kind of like always did quite well in school without having to bust my ass. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I kind of just absorbed information quite well if I paid attention. So that was good. And then it was the first time that I was like, what if I throw everything at something and I still fail? Like, what if I empty the tank and it goes tits up? And I can't even remember what the answer you gave me was, but I was just like, fuck it, I'm doing it. And so basically the day after the first mastermind meetup, I put it on my Instagram story before I could change my mind. I announced that I was starting a coaching business. DMs exploded. That was great. Then that was the night I lay on the sofa being like, if there's I'm being meant to be a coach, let me know. The next day after I got sacked.
Yeah. I think I remember calling you a selfish bastard.
Yes, you did. That was it. You were just like, you're being selfish right now. People need your help and you're too fucking scared to give it to them. Get over yourself. And I was just like,
okay. Unreal. What does the future hold for Dad starts Monday?
Oh, world domination. Well, basically, we've got a book coming out at the end of January. So there's a big ebook. It's called the Break the Cycle Bible.
The
So
Break the Cycle Bible. Love it.
Yeah, so it's massive and it's a bargain for the amount of information that's in it. Then there's a video module course coming in like spring, March, April.
And this is all around nutrition.
Yeah, nutrition and training. It's just basic. It's called the basics course, and it strips away all the horse shit that you've seen in like Slimming World, diet culture, all these different things that we ram down your neck. Like, I love my mother to bits. My God, I love her, but the actual stuff that she believes about dieting is crazy. Like, I was making a smoothie the other day and I was putting frozen berries into it, and she was like, "Are you juicing fruit?" And I was like, yeah. It was like, that's like doubling the amount of sugar going into your bloodstream.
Releases more sugar. Yeah.
I was like, she's like, I'm just thinking of your insulin spikes. And I was like, oh, sweet baby Jesus in the manger, right? Fine. And then I was like, yeah, it's fine, Marley, no problem. And that has been like a lot. Like, me and my mum, has been quite a complicated relationship. We can get into it if we have time. But basically, yeah, that was quite something. So that's getting rid of all that is going to be in a video module. That'll be in the Break the Cycle Bible as well, but the video modules will be more easily absorbed. And then just like a shitload of content. I'm changing like my format of content because I've done some work on getting my message clear, because I realized it wasn't 100% clear, and I realized my content that I was making was maybe a wee bit too about me sometimes.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, how can I change this? And again, this is like shifting from influencer to coach. It's a difference of identity. So that, and then planning client meetups, getting my thing to the best it can be, my service to the best it can be, and then my biggest goal is the Christmas party next year. I'm putting a deposit down tomorrow. It's never been done by a coaching business before, I don't think.
Nice.
I'm excited to see what happens with it. I'm excited to see how quickly it gets paid off. That's my main goal. And then in terms of that, like, what's next for Diet Starts Monday is to get Nicole debt free. That's what the biggest goal is. And
well on track.
Help as many people as I possibly can, change as many women's perceptions of their bodies, of dieting, of losing weight and making it sustainable, and also feeding into that quality of life that basically you don't have to punish yourself. It's not about the genes, it's not about your body, it's not about this, it's about having the quality of life that you deserve. It's essentially the crack.
Unreal, Nicole. If there was one question that I should have asked you but I didn't, what would it be?
Where did your relationship with food come from? And how did it get fucked up?
So where did that come from? And what was that the thing that led to your purpose of doing the job that you do today?
110%. Absolutely 110%. Basically, I grew up really sporty, played every sport, was on every sports team the school had. What a shock. Did everything, got stuck in everything, tried to do everything at once, but I loved it, and it was just always been my personality. And I was always a big foodie. I always loved my grub, and my mum was just like obsessed with me being skinny, like obsessed. And I remember she's like, I have to beat you back from the table. Like, why can't you just, like, so and so has a bread roll for lunch, why can't you just have that? And I was just like, because she goes home and watches Coronation Street all night. I'm playing like football, and then playing uni hawk, and then going out to scouts, and then teaching tennis for 3 hours. Like, come on, I'm gonna need a bit more energy than the average person. So then I got to the stage where it was just got so bad that I was starting to hide food in my room. So I would like hide sandwiches in my drawers, my desk and stuff. And I would go down and sneak food. And I started, as soon as I passed my driving test, I started eating in secret in the car. Food became really forbidden, like sugar. Like, I remember like my mum taking takeaways out of me and my boyfriend's hand. At the time I was 18, and he was in my house. And he was probably the first person that taught me about anything. He was a PT and he was a bodybuilder. And I remember, like, I was a cardio bunny before. I was like, I remember running the treadmill, looking over and seeing him Olympic lift and being like, holy fuck, he's gonna break his back. But also being like, I love him. But like it was really funny. So that was kind of the first of it. And then I remember we came in with the House of the Chinese. My mum literally took it out of my hand and put it in the bin. Like, that's how crazy it was. It was really, really not good. And I'm really fortunate that I had a mum who was willing to do the work. We've done a lot of therapy. But it got really bad. So then I went to uni and there was nobody making comments on my food. And this is again something that comes down from my clients as well. They all have this issue, is that like there's nobody around to comment on it. So they'll eat 4 takeaways a week, they'll eat all the biscuits. And I did the exact same thing, like, because there was nobody there to comment about anything. It was absolute freedom. And I remember like people would normally like be really good Monday to Friday and then binge all weekend. I was the opposite. I was binging Monday to Friday, and then I knew I wasn't going to get chocolate until Sunday night till I got back into Belfast. So I would like literally be unwrapping one Rocky bar while I was still chewing the first one and be out of breath. I was eating them. You know what I mean? Like proper binging. So that's when binge eating disorder came from. Secret eating, shame and guilt around food, constantly starting a new diet on Monday because there was comments every time I went home. So stop at home. Really affected my relationship with my parents, really affected my relationship with myself, really affected everything. And then everyone's like, oh, you'll lose the weight after uni. Nah, had really bad habits, still living alone, like, or living away from my parents. And it was nearly worse because you're less active because you're at a desk 8 hours a day. So then that was really bad for my self-esteem. And then basically started diet starts Monday, cut carbs was how I actually decided I was going to lose the weight. And it didn't work.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Oh my God. I was like, flew off me. I lost something like 3 stone in like 12 weeks. It was unbelievable.
Of course that was the answer.
Yeah. Of course. And I was thinking I was eating like 1,200 calories as well, but I was so focused and my motivation was so high, it was easy. But then once I kind of started to be like, oh, well, I'll go out for dinner here and go out for dinner there, and then like actually started to have a life again, it became unsustainable. So I've made every mistake, I think, in the diet book. I've put myself in hospital with fat burners. I have taken detox teas that came literally, it's called, I can remember it to the day, it was called Queen Bee Detox Tea. It came just like a couple of tea bags in a white envelope. Ordered it off Instagram, paid 50 quid for it.
Doesn't sound dodgy in the slightest.
Not at all. Did I drink it? Of course, could have been bloody anthrax. I just wanted to be sick. Do you know what I mean? And I've done Slimming World, I've done Weight Watchers, I've done no carb, I've done low carb, I've done everything like 5-2 diet, I've done like intermittent fast, I've done everything. None of it works. None of it is sustainable. Just have a balance. So basically, if I hadn't had that relationship with food, if I hadn't have put those thoughts in my head, I wouldn't have had the experience of all those things that make me such a compassionate coach now. I wouldn't have done everything that all my clients have done to try and get their weight under control, and I wouldn't have the tools in my arsenal to actually figure out how to do it.
Empathize with people,
yeah. And then I wouldn't have developed emotional eating, an emotional attachment to food. And then I ended up working with a food freedom coach in an influencer contract that made me realize my triggers around emotional eating. And now, thanks to my work with her and the research I've done after that, that is something I'm able to add to my coaching that makes it really different to a lot of other coaches, is that I'm able to help them manage their emotional triggers around food. And whenever they get a case of the fuckets, be like, right, let's have a chat about what your emotional triggers were in the day. Is it an abandonment issue? Is it like a rejection? Is it a people pleasing thing? Where did that come from? Dial that into their childhood, and that's completely different. So it just adds, I wouldn't have those things in my arsenal if I hadn't have been through it. So thank you, my mum, for calling me fat when I was a size 6. Thank you.
We're not endorsing that, by the way. Don't do that to your kids.
No, we're not endorsing it at all. I'm just saying, if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, unreal. I think
but basically, if you're a parent, please don't comment.
You know, it'd be a great idea. What's your mom's name? Barney, did you say?
Barney. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you should write down like a load of quotes, Barney's dad brain, and just ask her everything about dieting that she believes to be true, and then just dismiss every single thing that she writes down or that she says in your content. Yeah, that would be
great idea.
Yeah, just actually video her and say what happens if you eat loads of fruit in the day, and see what her response is.
I know.
Oh God.
God love her. But I think it's because she's had so many health problems. She got lupus as well as battling cancer, so she's a powerhouse. And like I said, I'm so grateful now that we've done the work on our relationship, because we're so close. Like, her beliefs, I have compassion for them. I'm able to be like, right, that's your way of coping, fair enough, whatever suits you. But she's able to be like, can you really have chocolate every day? And I'm just like, yeah. So it's good. We're in a good place now, but it took us a long time to get there.
Everyone's just doing the best with what they've got.
Exactly. Everyone's trying to feel a little bit better as well. I think once you realize that everyone's actions are to feel a bit better, everything becomes much easier.
Nice. Nicole, thank you for joining us today. You're an absolute
Thank you for
rock
having
star.
me. Thank you. So are you.
I shall see you tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow.
At the Galgorm. Exciting weekend coming up for the mastermind community.
Yeah.
Nicole, where can people connect with you if they want to reach out? Diet
Starts Monday on everything. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I haven't touched on years, so you can follow it if you want. It will come back eventually, but I want to get the other stuff done first. Basically, all my information is on that. And if you want any more information about coaching, go to www.dietstartsmondaycoaching.com.
Love it. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, everybody.